So I rewatched the reacts to hand tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
Or tattoos of hands.
Wasn't that gross?
Yeah,
Isn't it just
I
so
gotta
gross?
say,
hands.
like,
Yeah, they're tattoos of hands.
I don't give a crap whether people think it was the best Remy reacts ever.
Yeah, I know.
That was the best one
I
we've
know.
done, and we may as well stop at
Yeah,
that point.
that was a clean drive. You know what I mean? Like when you hit a clean drive off a tee box, it's just it goes the exact way it's supposed to. That was what a Remy react
it
should
was
be.
more horrific than I even remember.
It's so bad.
And I thought I was too harsh in the moment.
Okay, can I tell you a story?
Uh,
As I was editing that, as I was putting it together, a guy calls me and he goes, "Hey, I want to get a tattoo. I'm looking to come in this weekend." So immediately I'll walk in. And I got this idea of like a hand, like
Yeah.
holding a crown, like putting it down to a baby hand. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, "You've got to be kidding me."
No,
Like
you
as I'm
can't
editing
do
that
this.
together, I'm just like, "Oh,
you
man.
have to stop.
Yeah,
You have to
legit. Stop here. I've got something you need to watch first. It's more like it's a
should-
cautionary tale.
You should see something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Something you have to
I know
see.
in your mind this might sound great.
Yeah, it's gonna end up looking.
Now I feel like I missed out not having watched the.
Well, it just came up this morning.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's easy
It's
enough
brand
to
new.
watch. It's only 12 minutes. I'm
I
not
haven't-
saying you should,
I
but
haven't seen any of them. The only reacts I've seen is when you guys are actually recording.
yeah. Well, that's perfectly fine. But
This one's pretty enjoyable.
this was the best one yet, and I don't know if we're gonna do better work than that either.
Oh, of course we will.
I don't know, man.
Of course we will. That one was just sitting in the back burner. It was so nice.
I just love the. I hope there's something under the tree for me. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh boy, was there
Dude,
ever?
it was all your vibe of tattoos. It was
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. It was too good, too
was
easy.
too good.
Sometimes it's too easy.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's harder. You
I
know,
know.
like where I'm like, what do I say about this?
It's because when they're good tattoos, you're like, cool, it's good.
Well, and it's got to a place now where it's like people are sending me strange things. Like someone sent me a picture of a person on the street with bad
yeah.
tattoos, and I'm like, that's not what the Remy reacts is
Wow.
doing.
Yeah.
Right, we're not just taking
pretty
pictures
invasive.
of people.
Commenting
What do you
on
think
the
of this
cultural
one?
phenomena of
Yeah.
this.
Take a look at this.
Here's a
disadvantaged
picture of a person I don't like.
Yeah.
What do you think about
I
that?
got a
How
problem
bad
with
are
this
his
person.
tattoos?
Do you have a problem with this person?
Yeah, yeah. Here's a stack of shit on my shelf.
Yeah.
Can you
Okay, so
personally
we've already
come make
done
fun
that.
of this person's tattoos for me? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's nothing in focus. It's just a person who has a few bad tattoos. And I'm like, I'm not really so much into tearing people down.
No.
That's where it gets a little bit weird with like the Britney Spears one, where I was
Yeah.
like, how are we approaching this? Because I was like, I don't want to get on a I hate Britney kind of thing.
No, because I don't.
Right,
Yeah, not at all.
exactly. So, but it was easier with the Trump one.
Well, yeah.
Because obviously,
He's an easy target.
yeah, it's easier to batter him. But if you're doing like, if I had like one whole person send me, say, 6 tattoos in a row, it feels like you're attacking that person at some
Oh,
point.
totally, yeah.
It gets awkward after a while.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, at the same time, they know what they're signing up for.
Fair enough.
It's like, why would you send your tattoo in if you wanted to just get a pat on the back?
I would just picture that person watching like, oh man, I made a mistake. It's not a good idea.
I just like that the people sometimes are like, they're happy that we have commented like constructively
Yeah, I
on
know,
things
I've
that we
seen
could
that.
do to do it better.
You see
That's
that
like, wow.
graveyard tree guy?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, wow, I could do this thing and that
Yeah.
thing. It's like, I'm
can
glad
make
he
it
took
cooler.
it positively.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think that was probably the tattoo that I had the least to say about
Yeah.
of all of them.
Yeah.
This
I think
is the
you even
most
said
I
that.
have to say
I
about
think you even said that. You were like, I don't have much to say about this.
Well, it's just a black and gray tattoo.
Yeah.
Like and it's not done well. Like,
Yeah, that's tough with black and grays where it's all just gray and you're just like, oh, all right.
Yeah, what
Stuff's
is-
going on here?
what
That's
is
cool.
standing out here? And that's actually a great bridge point. What's
Love bridges.
standing out here?
Yeah.
I felt like that a lot with my first bodysuit, and
Yep.
now I don't want to have that same problem happen again. With
I
what
saw
I'm doing now.
someone repost one of your things where it shows your first bodysuit and your second bodysuit, and they were asking, "Hey, what do you like, the left or the right?"
Oh, it's always the left.
Yeah, and people really don't look at it.
Yeah, they don't look at it. No.
There's a lot of things going on, and they're like, "Oh, sweet things are going on," but your new bodysuit is so clean.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's not even close to the same, and like I don't understand why people can't see that.
It's always left.
Yeah.
Like, and I've gotten very used to that. And
Yeah.
people are always like, I think they're more offended for me than I am. because I understand where it comes from. They're
Yeah.
like, as an initial glance, oh, look at this, tattoos. Oh, that's just black. That's what it says. I'll take tattoos over just one color.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what people are looking at.
Yeah.
They can't see the bits and bobs in there.
So you're saying when you give people a choice, they choose the old bodysuit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, every time.
Well, a vast majority of people, yeah.
Really?
Well, not every time. I would say it's like 8.5 out of 10.
That's an accurate number.
Like, it's not quite 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Took the poll, found the results.
Oh
the
man,
people that
it's
are-
been so many times though.
The people that do the right one, though, are like on it.
yeah,
You could tell in their response, it's just like they understand, they get it. And it's just one of those like, oh, that's cool.
Well,
There's
you
like
take-
15% of the population that like looks at this and understands it.
even the guy who was doing a lot of that work wasn't happy with it. It was like, oh, well, we'll fix all of that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we'll get to it one day, and then that day never came. And then you would ask like Rick or Lee, and they'd look at it, and Rick would be like, I could do something with this.
Yeah.
I could figure this out probably. It's going to take a long time. Where Lee would be like, it just needs to be blacked out. Like, you need to start over. So, like, neither case was, this is perfect.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're asking anyone who knows what they're talking about in any capacity, it's like, oh, wow, there's a lot of problems in there.
Yeah.
Whereas anyone who doesn't know is just like, wow, that looks like a lot of art.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff there.
Art's a strong word for some of the
Yeah, I don't-
classic tattoos that we have on our bodies.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to get into like a huge tear about that because we've talked to death about that. But this is part of why I like staged the. So like we're always working 2 or 3 weeks ahead on the podcast, and Remy reacts, and my vlogs are always a couple weeks ahead because people really can't understand or appreciate change. Like change scares the hell out of people.
Yep.
Like, and I've been on the forefront of this for a long time where, like, any one thing I do has a visceral reaction. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter how small the change is. There's always at least a handful of people that react in an insane way that wouldn't make sense to most people. So, like, I almost feel like I have to, like, right now, I've had 2 or 3 sessions since the last session I posted on Instagram.
Yep.
That's how I always keep it because I'm always like breadcrumbing it. Because if I were to be showing the change as rapidly as it happens, people go nuts. It like drives them like because for some reason, even though it's not them, it's too fast. You know what I mean? Like it's too fast.
They
to
weren't
keep-
ready for you to make this change yet.
Well, they're not ready for that change themselves that fast.
So
So,
how-
it would seem like insanity, right?
So how do you use that effect to your advantage? Like,
Well-
do you start pulling weird stunts like getting flesh-colored jewelry for your ears and making it
It's
look
very,
like you
very
peeled
easy.
your ears in?
Yeah, it's very, very easy. All I have to do is change one thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I do it all the time.
Oh, fair.
Like, for example, if I take a picture, I've got a tunnel in here now. I had just like a regular bar in there before, but I've got a tunnel in it again. If I take a picture of this, now it's 10,000 to 20,000 likes again, and it's shared on Explorer all week.
what the hell?
Just one change, because now you can see through it again, right? Because it's
Man, I
bigger.
don't notice that stuff.
You don't notice that stuff, but
I
if
would
I do a
never.
close-up picture of my ear,
Sure.
this ear always trends on Instagram, and all I need to do is change one thing to make it new again.
That's
But
wild.
It doesn't change that much for me,
Yeah.
right? My account name is Ephemeral Remy. Now, I understand that ephemeral is a big word, and most people don't know what it means,
Yes.
right? I can appreciate that it's probably not working to my advantage to have a name like that.
No. I think it does.
I don't
No,
know.
I think algorithmically he's probably right.
No, I think it's too much for most people to digest. Like if I had like a more simple name, it would be easy. Like I would rather be just Remy.
Yeah, Remy would be the easiest thing to remember.
But ephemeral was key to what the page was going to be about.
Yeah,
Short-lived, right? Ephemeral meaning beauty lasting for a short time. Now, I'm not saying I'm beauty, but it's just that's the classical definition of the word. It means it lives for only a little while, and then like a rose, right?
Yeah.
It's here for a minute. That was the whole thing because my whole life has been that. It's you have this for a minute, you
Yeah.
have this for a minute, then you're moving on to the next thing. I try and groom people with that understanding that this is going to be a constant change thing. Like
Ain't
it's
that the truth?
It's not going to be the same forever. Where most people they get one hairstyle and they keep that forever. That's their iconic look. I'm not that married to anything. So you would think that by now it would intuit that I could change something like the face of this eye and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. But when I put that pattern on the eye, the reason why I haven't showed any more progress yet is because I had quite a few people who were like, "You've ruined the whole tattoo. The entire suit is terrible now."
How dare you do this? Here's some death threats for your morning.
It's a pattern. It's a pattern over black. And it's had this reaction.
It's adorable.
The only reaction I would have deemed appropriate was, that looks kind of cool. I wonder what he's going to do with that. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to have any sort of a reaction, I wouldn't be super impressed because it's just lines. I would kind of be like, I wonder what he's going to do with that. Mm-hmm. No. There were people who were outraged at me doing that. Like, outraged.
I don't get it.
Unfollowing. You ruined your suit.
Like, I've never been in that place where that type of thing would make me feel a way.
Yeah.
It's either, like, cool or not cool. I don't get it. I either, like, stop or I scroll past.
I'm just
But these
thinking,
people have made a connection to you now, clearly.
Yeah.
They buy in.
Yeah.
There's years of this. Like, I've been on Instagram now since 2016.
They feel they put enough work, we'll call it, but they've put effort into following and liking and commenting and being on your journey with you that now it feels like you owe them something. It's like they're part of your journey now because they've invested in you, even though you have not invested in them.
But I just would say, like, I don't know why you think it would have stayed the same. What has stayed the same? The eye has changed like 6 times. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm working on it like every 6 months. It feels like I do something to it.
Yeah. I think there's also like a measure of comfortable change and uncomfortable change. Change that you understand and change that you don't.
Well, adding things to the black, that's fine. But now you're messing with the core elements.
But there's going to be some people that don't appreciate the idea of...
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
I've already lost people over the adding things to the blackout too, because when that started, the whole journey changed too. Mm-hmm. So, oh no, now it's not about wholeness and unity and not keeping possessions, because that's what the blackout represented to some people. He doesn't care about worldly possessions. He's freeing himself of image.
Some weird.
These are the people who thought I was going to black out the chest and everything else too.
Some weird nihilism thing.
A nihilism or Buddhist. Something like that, where I'm just like, yeah, okay, you think what you want. I just want to get tattooed.
Those people have never had tattoos, clearly.
Well, it's just not like that for me. Maybe
or they don't like getting tattooed.
Yeah.
Maybe someone else thinks that, but I'm just like, no, it's just about tattooing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just assigned a meaning to it that I didn't.
Yeah.
That's all that happened there.
You're right, that even
the
in the
best
thing.
piercer.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Just someone
He's going to change the game for piercing.
Yeah, well, and just having someone here in our front end who's like, oh, yeah, getting tattooed, I'm all about getting tattooed. You should get tattooed more. Like, just...
The
synergy that
I got
creates.
big tattoo energy.
Exactly,
well, I just love the idea of like
energy.
somebody being like, I don't understand why I love tattoos so much, and I'm planning my next one, and then this guy walks out.
Exactly.
Just be like, hey.
Yeah. Well, and don't get me wrong.
And like,
I like them a little too.
Yeah, I hate them. Hate getting tattoos.
Tattoos are bullshit. I'm out of here.
But yeah, no,
Sharpie.
it's like I had that blowback when I started the blackouts. I had that blowback when I changed the eye the first time.
Yep.
Then when I blacked out the white of the eye, it was like, oh my God, it looks so terrible now. It's garish. Like, I had people saying the most ridiculous shit ever then. And then when I put that small pattern over the eye, oh, it's game over. It's what have you done? You ruined everything. Stop now. Like,
I love that people have no vision.
Yeah. Well, the one guy's like, you should have your skin taken away from you. Like, you don't respect anything. Like, you're just, like, it gets insane quick.
Yeah, I mean, I love that though, and not to mention like they need a place to put that weird energy of theirs.
I know, because where else is that appropriate?
Nowhere, and frankly, it's not even appropriate where they're putting it. But whatever, I guess can't put that in normal life.
Sure
It gets you in prison.
But I thought, I've done enough work to show that things change all the time with me, that by now it should be par for the course. But people jump on for different reasons and at different points.
Yeah.
With these sorts of things, and that's why you can't understand their attachment.
This is where it gets more it's even weirder that these reactions are happening because I look at each next piece that you get, each next step in the progress, and for me, that looks more like on par for the course.
Yeah.
Like, no, the rate of change is relatively constant, actually. Like, what I would expect is a post with new shit over old shit and all these layers of tattoos and things. That just makes a ton of sense. It's not like, oh no, you're changing this thing with a tattoo on a tattoo. How could you? Nope, that's been the thing for a long time now.
Well, because I think when people think about, I want to get a big tiger on my back, they don't think about putting black over that tiger. They don't think about putting multiple layers over that tiger. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
So when you're thinking about it as an image acquisition,
Yeah.
like I want to get
A
this.
collector.
Yeah.
A lot of people call themselves tattoo collectors.
So why would I want to put something over that? So like they can't get on the same frequency as I am with this, where I'm like, once I get the tentacles done and all the basic elements laid out, how am I going to not just continue the journey, but also like refine this? Because I'm thinking about what colors I need to use now and what other things I can do to pull pieces apart.
Yep.
Because I really feel like right now, as much as I like the black on black, if I want this to stand out and pop, I need to figure out one more element at least to put into it.
I'm going to do a bunch of white on black tattoos and then convince you to get a white and color on black sleeve.
Oh, I'm going to.
Yeah.
But
Well,
That'd be great.
that Cthulhu thing's gonna be ridiculous.
I don't know what we're gonna do with that yet. Like
I do.
I know what it looks like.
Rick and I talk about it a lot.
I know he
I
keeps
send him shit,
sending me
and
things.
and he keeps sending me shit back, and I'm just like, yeah, this is gonna be great.
But like I'm gonna let him do whatever the hell he wants with it.
100%.
But I also think that before we get there, we're gonna do some more things yet. Because
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet, but I know I need one more color in the bodysuit.
Agreed.
I just don't know which color it is yet.
I have an inkling that purple silver is going to be coming into play.
What
have
do you
an
think that
inkling.
would look like?
I have no clue.
Because I keep
It's
talking
a bit
about.
dull and muted.
I know, but something tells me that's going to play in there somehow.
I
Seems
keep
likely.
talking about.
Like between the red and the silver, I feel like that purple is going to work its way in there somehow as like this weird third tone.
But see, that's like very red adjacent. I would picture something across
I know.
red.
I
I
know.
keep thinking purple, but like my problem is I need to get it into the tentacles themselves somehow.
Yeah.
Like I need to get something in them to differentiate them from the black in the background.
Yep.
What is the red right now? The red is just blood?
No, it's
No,
eyes. It's highlights and eyes.
Yeah, it's super bright.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what color it is,
It's
but
nebula red, I believe.
Well, as a bonus, tentacles are often green.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
green
it could
is
be
opposite to
green.
red.
It's just about we're thinking about how it's going to interact with the black too.
That one there. Take a look at that one.
Don't overthink it. Just
Yeah.
go hard and see how it looks.
Well,
later.
what I always think is
That Android would work, I think.
Yeah.
you say that with a shit-eating grin, but that is how I think about it because
Yeah.
I have to think about it like assume everything works the way you want it to.
Yeah, of course.
Because if it doesn't, it will eventually. Because we'll just keep going, right? Like, what won't we just keep going with?
I mean, if it's the wrong color, they would switch color.
That's-
But other than that,
that's the thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I'm
And
trying
you
to
knew a
figure
little
out.
bit at first.
I'm trying to figure out how I can make everything stand out and not blend.
Yeah.
Because right now it's the things are there. It's just going to be about bringing them to life.
Well,
more.
and right now you're staring down the clock as well, going, "Hey, it's bold. It's what I want right now." But 3 years from now, the black on black is going to be less contrast.
Sure.
We just don't know how much. We
course.
don't know exactly.
How could I
what it's
not
gonna-
be thinking that
Of
I need to
course.
find a way to make it more lasting?
That's right.
And I don't mind working on it for as long as it takes.
Wait, you?
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, that's the
How
other
odd.
funny thing is people will be like, I would like to see this in 2 years. It's like, yeah, it won't even be the same tattoo anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking
Might
about
be an
right
entire
now?
thing that's entirely changed. Might
Yeah,
be
like,
on a
get all
ninth
the time
bodysuit by
with
then.
my head rose on my hand. It's like, oh, we'll see that in a few years. Yeah, it'll be a completely different tattoo because
Are you
we're probably going to
familiar-
put red and silver into it.
Are you familiar with the Guy Aitchison stuff? He's kind of this frizzled old dude that's all about these. He's very what's the right word here? Very depth based abstract tattoos where there's like usually a light source. Like for example, he's doing a chest tattoo. He'll have like a light source deep in
and then
here.
he creates like
and then there's kind of like not tentacles but kind of bone textured spires and things coming in front of it. And
I've seen some of that.
Yeah, it's its whole own art form. And I feel like that would be a good direction for some part of your not black on black, but some part of your tattoos on black work, because you could start creating the light source behind, and then tentacles or whatever subject you have in the front could stay dark, and now you're creating a light source behind them, and the background is actually the light colored part.
I think the tough thing about dictating a light source is that light is so dim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could do certain things.
But making a tentacle or a subject lighter than the background standing out
totally,
is exactly the same amount of contrast as creating the background or making the background lighter.
Just pushing
to make
which part of the
subject
depth,
stand out.
right?
That's right. You're just changing where things are.
Yeah.
So this is the only thing is I'm slow to bring up new ideas with Rick too, because I don't want it to be like, okay, we've got 9 things on the go right now, and now we're adding this in.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is get all of what we've already talked about done, then move on to the next layer, which is like, I want to do some kind of color in the tentacles themselves. In the spots that aren't shaded now, those high spots should be a different color.
I mean, I would ask him too what he thinks.
Oh, for sure. It's always
In that
going to be a
respect, too.
negotiation.
Well, no, not even negotiation. Just like kind of in his like dreamland of this.
Yeah.
And I was
What's his
imagining
idea?
silver and little eyeballs.
Well, there's going to be
They're going to be silver and red.
Yeah.
Oh, fair.
Because like the silver is going to be used as kind of like a accents.
And the high points too.
Yeah, pretty well. Like the teeth did that, right? The
Yeah.
teeth in the tentacle. But you have to have another thing in there too to add like that mid shape.
Like a phallus.
Yeah, just like
It
a
has
dick.
to be taken away from the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be. Or else it's going to be it's just sitting in the background.
Well, I think that's one of the tricky things too, that when you guys did the definition of these tentacles in black, it all of a sudden puts the black near the black, whereas like you want that tentacle to push forward, so it's almost better to darken the parts that are not going to be tentacle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know
'Cause,
what
like,
you mean.
when you guys double lined, you added this definition, but all of a sudden it's like that background is now no longer deeper than the tentacle sits forward. So it's almost going to probably end up being that you guys darken the areas that lead up to those lines.
I think that's doable too.
Of course.
There's got to be one other thing done. I know that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't doubt it if it's either dotted in or...
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm almost picturing like taking that 9-liner and scrubbing some black in on the outside of that line next to that tentacle.
Yeah.
And if you scrub it in the right way, pushing deeper out from the line in this way, it's gonna heal a little bit jagged at first where it blends into the old black, but then it's going to settle and it's actually going to have that
kind
liner
of vibe.
Well, because you're like, how do I get the liner black on the outside of this tentacle?
Yeah.
Without lining to shade it in, which is obviously
Yeah,
insane.
you've done a little of that fading out at the edge, like the ends of the tentacles, and I think I've thought about that too, where it's like, what's happening in between the tentacles?
Yeah.
Like, because that's got to happen. There's got to be something there. It can't just be the flat black.
Which is why I'm saying
But I
some
also
Guy
don't-
Aitchison light source crazy shit.
But I also don't want to have it where it was with the last suit, where everything was like, what is happening in there?
I think it's just it has to cavern in, so you have to see the fact that it's moved out, like the different depths of field between the tentacle is on top, and then the cavernous space below is down there, and then it matters less like what's down there. It's just you can tell that it's down. You know what I mean?
No, I'm
Light
cool with that.
sourcey,
I don't
yes.
want more images down there.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do that. We need some kind of a texture or something to do this. And I just keep looking at like different skins and shit and different textures and like, okay, how are we gonna weave this whole thing together? Because now that's the challenge. It's like, yeah, we have cool images, but how are they interacting and how are they moving forward?
black on black
Yeah.
crocodile skin.
I've looked at crocodiles.
Of course you have.
Well, there's going to be some of that for sure.
Yeah.
Because that textured kind of thing would make a lot of sense. And then if you go down into it and go over top of it, it'll also make more sense. I I'm going to be honest. You guys need to try Panthera in there as your deepest black. Nobody seems to be wanting to talk about that, but I think if you added another type of black, I think it will help add to that dimensionality.
I mean, it couldn't hurt.
Well, it could.
Maybe I'll get some Panthera.
It'll
and
probably
try it
hurt.
on my little bit of
Wow.
black here.
I just think it'll give you different, right? Like if it's done, like when I watch those guys do those blackouts and I just see the difference between the two, it's like, okay, well, there's something that could be done here. It's not necessarily that they're going to be super different, but there might be something.
I mean, it's not like I'm adverse to trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Probably going to get tried.
No.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not endorsed by Dynamic Black. It's just
No.
all we've ever done.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my choice either. It was just what we were
Well,
using.
it's industry
That's
standard.
yeah, it's what
Yeah.
everybody uses for the
exactly.
most part.
So
Just
it's-
there's something about that. There's something about Panthera that has this thing to it, and I think if I understand it correctly, they treat it
With
differently.
radioactivity.
Kinda. They said that they treat it on like a cellular level to make it more resistant to UV.
Jesus.
So I don't know. There's something that happens to it though. It almost has like a purpliness to it.
New XXX Black with zinc. It's also a sunscreen. Dun dun dun.
This might kill you. Enjoy.
I have a bit of apprehension about the colored tentacle thing
Yeah.
because the last time that was the idea with the old suit.
Yeah.
Because people are always like, well, your sleeves are so colorful, but your torso wasn't. I was like, yeah, that wasn't on purpose either. Because like they were supposed to be purple in the tentacles after
Oh,
they
really?
were shaded, and the high spots they were supposed to be purple, and the light spots they were going to be purple. That was the idea.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do it because he had enough of the piece. He kept saying, "Oh, we're going to touch all of that up one day. I got this numbing cream I'm going to try on you. Then we're going to do all the touch-ups in one day." It's
Oh
like,
yeah, heard that before.
yeah, that never happened. First off, I would never ask for numbing cream ever anyway. This was all his idea. And he just kept babbling about it for months until eventually the talk stopped. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where it was just,
He
it
just
had
hoped
been,
you forgot about it.
yeah,
He
it
didn't care
had been
anymore.
long enough, and he was hoping I forgot too.
Yeah.
And then we just didn't talk about it anymore.
Crazy.
And it was never finished. So the purple never happened. So now I'm like, I have scar tissue over it, you know, where it's like, I don't want to bring up that third layer part of it with anyone because I've been burned on that bridge before.
I've been burned on purple before.
Really?
I've been hurt.
Purple will burn you.
Fortunately, Rick doesn't seem to care about any of that shit.
No.
Like, he's just a hired gun.
Yeah,
Seems like
yeah.
most of the time. Like, he's just
Well-
like, yeah, okay.
He cares in his own little like nerdy way, right? Like the things that matter to Rick are not the things that matter to most people.
Fair.
It's one of those like seeing him get stoked about something nobody gives a shit about. It's just like the little things that like I don't know. It nerds out for him in a different way. I just remember he was doing these roses on this lady, and he finished one rose and the rose looked beautiful, but he also brushed in some of the undertones for the next session, and he couldn't stop talking about it. It was just like, yeah, these little blues in there, so you see like when I'm going to layer the yellow over it, it's going to
She's
make
probably
this
like,
kind of
yeah,
tone.
okay.
Well, she was just stoked on this beautiful finished rose that was like, oh my God, look at that. That's gorgeous. And he was just like, yeah, I tried something new and blah, blah, blah. And it was just one of those, like, you could see his like inner joy just being like, oh my God, I figured something out. This is fantastic. And it's something that nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah. Nobody.
Even me, I was like, I don't understand, but cool,
Yeah,
man.
sure.
Great.
You got a path.
But
That's
he's
great.
he's very intimately acquainted with, especially when it comes to his blending. He's intimately acquainted with working fresh skin, fresh colors over top of healed
Yeah.
stuff versus putting this in and then working into it fresh.
Yep.
Like for
It's
me,
two very different responses,
yeah,
right?
I'm going to use those two things quite similarly. I'm not going to change much in how I do. I'm not changing my process a lot based on it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for him, that's a completely separate task.
Yep.
Whether like this color already being healed and blending into that and working over it, completely different than if it was fresh.
Yep.
Yep.
100%.
Whereas it's not going to change my process that much.
No.
So he's just played in the color for so much longer and has such a different fussiness. Well, that comes with the color realism guy, right?
Yep.
That's the trick.
Well, like he did that, what was it, that Fear and Loathing piece that he's working
Yeah,
on?
yeah.
And he was kicking himself because he did too much.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I worked it too much. I layered it too much. Look, there's drop out there. There's drop out there. And it was just one of those like, man, you know this stuff too much. Like, but I understand it because it's like it must suck to get into a piece, and you're trying to deliver for the client as well, so they have a piece that's finished or feeling more finished, or they're feeling better about the accomplishment, but you're sacrificing what you know to be the best result. That's tough, man. That's a tough balance.
Well, yeah, he always says he tries to push people to their limits, but he's not going to go.
Yeah,
he'll
as soon
know
as the
before
skin
they
starts
do.
fighting
Kind
back,
of thing.
he's just like, nope.
That's what he always told me is he knows before you know.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I just go with whatever the artist's process is.
Yeah.
Like I can go all day or 2 hours or whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain either way. But he's always been he does his thing.
Yeah.
He's always done things a certain way. He's very particular.
Yes.
Ever since I first got tattooed by him, it was like, this is our plan today. We're doing this much.
Yeah.
We get there and then we stop.
Yep.
And fair enough. People approach things differently.
Well, and again, that's his thing that he nerds out on. Those are the things that kind of turn his crank in that respect, which, like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own little things. And
when you have such a gruff exterior like that,
yeah,
it's odd.
It's hard to imagine that anything excites you.
Well, but yeah, and then you see it does, and you're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because like when he got beat up real bad a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to do some of my blackout while Lee was away.
Yep.
And he was upset that he didn't get to.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I really wanted to do something.
Yeah, he's not upset that he got
would've-
jumped by 4 guys.
He
but-
would have
Yeah.
never mentioned that if he didn't mean it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a weird moment. Why is he even saying this right now? This isn't Rick that I know.
He's not supposed to have feelings.
Rick doesn't care about things.
Yeah.
Right? Well, he just always seems so dismissive and just like,
Yeah.
eh. But he's like, yeah, I was really looking forward to doing some of that on you. It's like, what is this moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. When it happens, you're just like, whoa.
Well, and even you coming out for a smoke with me?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Can I?
okay, sure.
Are we sure?
What are we talking about? Of course. Yeah.
He's an
If
enigma,
you're
man.
asking, of course I'm joining.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
it's an honor at that point because you know that he's gruff and
Yeah.
he doesn't let on. So when he does, you're like, I feel like I'm part of an elite club.
And he keeps trying to get me to go and party with him.
Oh, I wouldn't go
We
that
have
far.
we have to one of these days, buddy.
I know, but like I keep telling him
You
the
two
same
go
thing.
party, you die.
See, that's what I'm saying. I've said that over and over and over again. I was like, dude, if I party with you once, I'm dead.
Yeah,
You're the guy that lives. I'm the guy that dies.
yeah. I
Just
don't
is
know
what
if
it
I'd
is.
go that far. I think that's treacherous.
Yeah, I know. I'd have to be drinking nothing
Yeah,
because it just is like I can't hang with that.
but just his stories alone are enough to tell me.
Yep.
And the people he knows too.
Did I
You're
ever
like,
tell you how one of the first times I earned Rick's respect?
Bring it on.
So I'm at buddy's house. Where it's like late. He's at the pool, super heated. I'm hitting on this really cute chick. We're hanging out. Rick shows up. I talk to him for a minute. I fuck off for a bit. I come back and we're like talking tattoo shit. And shit comes over and shoves like a 2-gram mushroom in my mouth. And I don't even stop talking. I just keep my conversation with Rick going. And just chew through it. And I could see his eyes go like, oh, this fucker can hang. I'm like,
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so great.
There was an unspoken bond.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Been long since broken, but here we are.
I just remember we went to go see Alita Battle Angel, and we were going to go see it whilst on mushrooms. And, you know, we all took a little, and that's fine. It is what it is. And I remember he got a big jumbo popcorn, and he had a probably ounce and a half of mushrooms sitting next to him. He ate all of the mushrooms, none of the popcorn.
Oh my god.
And I was like, what? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So, yeah, drove him home. It was wild. He was having a time. But I was just like, man, you're just built different, dude.
He is, and I'll tell you another thing about him is like around town when people will know about him, it's always the same kind of, oh, I miss Rick.
Oh,
that
yeah,
guy's such a good guy.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right? But when you talk to him, he has that gruff exterior.
Yeah.
It's just weird that like he's remembered as this giant teddy bear.
Yeah.
But he sort of interacts like, you know, it's a kind of duality
Yeah.
with him.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yep.
I wonder if he knows that.
Of course he knows that.
Yeah. You think?
I think he's way more aware than we think.
Yeah,
yes, and there's some
I think there's
things,
parts of that
Yeah.
that he likes.
and
He just enjoys it.
that's right. There's part of it that's novel and part of it he likes, and I think he's got some blind spots that he's like a little bit aware of and okay with.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just kind of like, that's me.
Yeah. He's like, that's me, and this works for me. I don't need to go over there. It's
Yeah.
fine. We're here now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm already here.
Fair.
I love how much time we spent on this podcast talking about a
talk about
random coworker.
Yeah.
Well, not
That no
random
one
at
will
all.
experience. I'm assuming for years.
That's right.
I'm sure
But
one day
that
we'll...
being said, I'm thinking, if I'm correct, I think people will probably have someone in their life that's similar to this.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit of an archetype person.
I would say so, yeah.
Suddenly we're at a point where, like, it's okay. Rick is in your hearts.
Yeah. Alt-right Santa
very
is in your
serious.
heart.
All right, Santa's not a real person.
Just very
He's just a
ethereal.
feeling you get at a certain
Yeah.
time of year.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when the first
an emotional state of being.
You know that flinch you get when you're tattooing? That's all right, Santa.
Yeah, that's all right, Santa. Just
He's
jabbing.
also the same guy who I jokingly said, I can't tell you my belly button hurts to get tattooed. You'll get a drill gun out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he giggles.
Yeah,
'cause
oh yeah, he's so happy when
He
you're
enjoys the pain,
Yeah.
right?
in pain. Yeah. It's just so much fun for him for some
Yeah,
reason.
he lit up over that.
Yeah. I'm always trying to think, it doesn't matter that they're in pain. You need to finish
Just
the
being
tattoo.
different.
Oh,
to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah. If we're changing topics into that concept of customer pain
Yeah.
or client pain, it's not profitable for anybody, for you as the artist, to be sitting there worried about their pain level.
No.
So there's a couple times where it is. Only a couple instances when you're first getting into the skin, especially if they're nervous. Go easy for the first couple
Yeah.
minutes.
Be gentle.
You know, at the end of the tattoo, when that stencil's already worked off, give them a quick shot of Bactine, put some plastic on it for 5 minutes. There's only a few times. Take an extra 1 minute break here and there, but otherwise, you can't let their pain level start to worry you and
Yeah.
distract
Well,
you.
you're going to give
It'll make
worse
the product worse. Yeah.
Well, now suddenly your chances are, what is that distraction going to cause? Either you're going to slow down and cause more pain,
Yep.
or get distracted and do a worse tattoo, or hurry, which actually ends up taking longer and working the skin harder.
Yes.
In my experience,
100%.
like hurry, you can get a quicker pace, but hurrying doesn't pay off.
I'm at the point of it these days where I find it condescending to even bring it up. It's
The
like,
pain?
Yeah, it's just like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, of course it hurts. Who fucking cares?
yeah.
Like, of course it hurts. Am I going to make a deal of it? Even when I'm getting tattooed, I won't. Like, it's one thing to sit here after the fact and be like, yeah, whatever, it hurts.
Oh, of course.
But, like,
yeah.
even during now, I'm just like, yeah. But I'm
feels
laughing
cheesy.
about it more than anything. Like, when we were doing that belly button tattoo video,
Yeah.
I was having a laugh with you two. Because, yeah, it hurts, but, like, it's not going to hurt forever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's the same people sitting here complaining and talking about the pain and where does it hurt the most.
Yeah, who cares?
They're the same people going, how long you been doing this? How'd you get started? What's the plan? Like, whoa, honey, everybody asks those same questions.
Yeah.
I just like the memory of like Kevin has to stretch my belly button
Ugh.
and Rick is going as hard and fast as he can.
My
I'm like,
favorite
hilarious.
It's
of
a
all time
hilarious
is
video.
Kevin stretching those butt cheeks.
Yeah, that was a good
That's
one too.
like, I don't think we have any videos or memory or pictures of that.
No.
But as far as
No.
like Remy's bodysuit, that's the one that's locked the fuck in there. It's just Kevin pushing butt cheeks and Ricky going like, here we go.
Dude, it taught me a lot about stretch, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, it taught me a lot. Because just watching Rick be like, you know, being
The
Rick.
first side, he worked up a sweat
Yeah.
when he did the first side on
It
his
was
own.
pouring sweat.
Yeah.
And, like, you can see it, too, where it's just like the stretch isn't enough, therefore nothing's happening.
Yeah,
Or, like,
yeah.
nothing's happening to the degree that it should be happening.
Yeah.
That's right.
And all of a sudden the stretch is right.
It's more
and everything's
painful than it
happening.
needs to be too.
And this is the
Yeah.
other thing.
Yeah.
People don't understand. If you don't do that right, it's way more painful. So
Yeah.
anyone that's very competent in a stretch, the tattoo's less uncomfortable. It just is.
Yeah.
Because it's more efficient. And that's where, like, I would see a lot of people would be like, oh man, I wish I had a little bit more meat on my bones. It's like, no, you don't. If you have to stretch out to next week, odds are you're not getting a good stretch, and odds are then you're punching that like a punching bag over and over again, and it's gonna hurt way more.
I don't want any more skin either. I find the stretchy areas hurt more.
Yeah.
Everyone's always talking about, oh, I gotta like lose some weight so I can get that tattoo. No, it's the opposite. You kind of want to get tattooed at your peak weight,
Yes.
and then lose that weight. Because if you go up and then you lose 20 pounds and then you get tattooed, well, all of a sudden you have extra skin that we're like,
Okay.
interesting.
Sweet. This will go
Yeah.
for the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
like a
toughest
fruit
skin
roll-up.
is someone who's like, I lost 200 pounds last year.
Yeah.
Like, oh, good fucking luck
Yeah.
with this
What you really
shit.
want
You
is you
just-
want to be working out.
Yeah.
Stretch
that
this
muscle
out
under there to
and
get that
get this
taut right away.
stencil in
Yeah.
here underneath this fold.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to be jacked.
Yeah.
Jacked will get you the nicest pain-free tattoo if you can. Unless usually those guys are also babies though. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
Weird. I don't know.
They're always the ones that complain the most about the pain.
I know. It's wild.
It's weird. It's very strange.
It's very rare that you find someone that's just like tough and they're built like that. Especially like the juiced out guys. Like the juiced out guys, the ones that go because like then you've got the people that are like natural and they're just shredded.
Yeah.
It's like those guys are tough and you
That's
can tell
right.
and they don't care about a tattoo. It's just not
But
even on their
meanwhile-
Juice
roster.
monkeys are all about the aesthetic, less
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
journey there. Right?
And like not to mention, even if you're contemplating the idea of steroids, it's kind of like you want all the juice without the squeeze, right?
Right.
Like you could take 2 more years to do this the better way or the cleaner way or whatever, but it's like no, I want it now.
yeah.
And it's the same thing with the tattoo. It's like this is going to take 12 hours. Well, what about we do it in like 1? Like, oh no, how about not? It's
Yeah.
going to take time.
Meanwhile, there's my guy yesterday. It's my 3rd session with him.
Yep.
I've done all of his tattoos so far. And he's like 22 and kind of dad bod, got a little bit of man tit going on.
Wow,
hanging
at
around.
22?
Yeah, yeah. But he's like he's a train conductor. He's decent dude. Goes on hikes here and there. Perfect pain tolerance. No issues. He's like, oh yeah, I did on that wrist that one time when you're working those details in here. Yeah, that was tricky. The rest, no problem. Did a 3.5 hour session on his back yesterday. Psh, no problem. Didn't hurt as much as his army said, which I think is crazy.
Okay, I
Depends
have a
on
theory
where
on that
for me.
too.
Yeah.
Because he's ginger.
Oh.
I have another theory on that. I don't know why.
Yeah,
but I
but
just have noticed certain times where it's like I see gingers and I'm just like, man, you're tough.
Yeah, but
What's with
Roland's
your
a
pain
ginger and
tolerance?
tattoo's killer.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's for everybody.
Yeah,
I just have
yeah.
noticed a few times where it's just like, oh, ginger, and
He's got
this
a
doesn't
ginger
affect
power.
you at all. It's weird.
I always think that depending on how much you want the tattoo, you can be tougher for it too.
Yes,
Right.
Like when you
100%.
really, really want it, it's like it doesn't matter what's going
and like
on.
what's your goal, right? Like if
Yeah.
you have a goal that's really lofty, you're usually going to be tough about the beginning stages of it.
He
right?
doesn't. He's one step at a time.
Yeah.
He came in like, I want a tattoo, and I want there to be 2 giant wings going up my forearm.
Sure.
And then suddenly it's a reaper and this shield and now a whole nature scene in his back. And he's just like, yeah, in like 2 weeks I'll have a new idea and I'll message you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay.
But
If-
that just
if
means
you
that he
insist.
likes tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's one of
yeah.
those like if you like tattoos, then you're going to be tough about them because that's
Yeah.
something you want.
Yeah.
We're good about getting the things that we want. Whereas like if you don't really want it, if it's about something else, it's like then
I started getting into that territory with the leg blockouts where it's just like, I don't want this for sincere reasons anymore. I'm very over it.
Yeah.
I
I'm
just
I'm ready
now
for this to stop.
I'm just finishing the journey now.
It's just, okay.
Like it had nothing to do with I can't wait for my thigh to be blacked out. It was more like I need the connectivity of the top to the bottom. It was a mission then.
Yeah.
It wasn't enjoyment.
No,
it wasn't
not
like
at all.
I can't wait to show this off.
You're like, this is just the next step in this process.
Yeah, it became very grindy, and like there was almost no reward to it for me, other than completion's sake,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There was eventually going to be a reward, but it was a long way off still. So now the tattoos I'm doing feel a lot more like that.
You know what blew our mind last week as far as if we're talking like reward and pain? Your 3-hour sits after you get tattooed, or you just go home and chill for 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's such like a remarkable routine.
Yeah, well, that's every week.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No kidding.
I don't respond to anyone during that time either. I'm just like doing my thing. Like,
That sounds like a whole like
On a
weekend
cloud.
in 3 hours.
well, I started, it kind of is.
Exactly.
Because like I started doing that more and more after the finger blackouts. We had a clip about this from the first Remy Show. Was I learned how valuable doing nothing can be,
Yeah.
right? Because I couldn't do anything, and now I have no reason to visit that space because I'm not doing the finger blackouts. I haven't
Yet.
done them in a while.
Yet.
I'll probably do them again eventually.
I think you'll do dots, and then it'll be way different to heal.
Yeah, there'll be something different that happens there, but like you can't do anything. So you get good at just sitting still. It's just like, oh, I haven't done this in maybe ever. Like, when have I ever just sat still and done nothing?
Right?
Yeah,
And
I
then
force
you're
myself
like,
to do that now.
oh, this is actually not bad.
Because we live in an age where actually I personally sincerely believe that our society is plagued with a lack of boredom. Not that I think true boredom is a good thing, but we're plagued with quite the opposite, where if we do have a spare 6 minutes, we're like, oh, I'll throw in this South Park. It's on this streaming thing. I'll put this thing on. I'll put some cat videos. There's always more things to entertain ourselves with. I'll swipe through the social media and click on the thing. Our time is constantly filled with a million little things, and if we weren't doing that, we'd have 9 other things we could be doing to entertain us.
Well-
And what we need to do is sit the fuck down and let our head sort itself out here and there.
Man, that's one thing that, like, when I was back in my listening to a shitload of Jordan Peterson days, he used to say this thing, and when he would bring up topics that were new to him, and he would say, it's something that I'm currently thinking about.
Right.
And that spoke volumes to me, where it was like, oh, this guy sits down and thinks about things, and he parses them out and picks them apart and gives himself time to do that, which, like, I've started doing that now, and I've started saying those words where it's like, this is something that I'm thinking about, as in I'm trying to refine an idea that is entirely in my own head. But if I just kind of have things to do all the time, or TV to watch, or nonsense, it's like I don't get a time to just think.
So those topics that kind of run through my head when I'm taking that time are usually like fairly verifiable things I can go do research on later. So like I find it quite beneficial and fun if you work through an entire problem or situation that you're thinking about and do your best to perceive and imagine how it actually works. And then go do some reading and see how that actually compares to the real world. And all of a sudden, you're gauging your model of the world to what's actually happening. And it's not just a matter of like, oh, look how right I was. It's a matter of look how wrong I was. Because so many of us need myself super included, need a reminder here and there that like, oh, my model of the world, the way I see things is incomplete.
Yes.
There is more information. There are specialists out there.
It's not possible to be complete.
Of course not.
No.
And there's lots of experts out there who have gotten to the bottom of these topics and have figured it out and have published papers and documents showing the results of exactly this societal course, cultural situation, and mechanical engineering concept, whatever.
And just the understanding, too, that those things are also incomplete.
Yeah.
Because time is still moving forward.
And we're still learning the flexibility in physics.
Yeah.
We're still learning how physics changes when
Depending
you
on how
start
we interact with it.
applying heat, speed, and centripetal force. And that's just talking about terrestrial physics, let alone when you start getting out into universal and spatial physics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild times.
Yeah.
But again, like, or we could watch the Kardashians.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's much
we could.
easier to just
Like-
put something on and
Yeah.
get lost in it.
And
And it's much less painful, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Much less
easier.
painful just to be distracted by something and not worry about your own problems or what's bothering you. And then it's easier to do that than it is to have to challenge yourself to grow in a new way or face an old problem that's been eating away at you for years, right? These are the kinds of things you think about when you can't do anything for days.
Yeah. When you're
Right?
stuck.
Yeah.
When you think that you would enjoy watching TV or something, and you're like, oh, I don't actually like TV.
Yeah, I don't
It's
actually
on in
care.
the background.
Dude, I'm having a harder and harder time watching anything.
Yeah, me too.
If it's not with a group of people for a purpose, like I love watching movies with people and talking about it and having fun together, but like by myself,
It's
nope.
just on in the background.
Yeah.
I'm always doing something else if it's on. It's never the core thing.
I never thought I'd be that guy though. I always
think
thought
a
like when
lot
I
of
was a
people
kid, I
are.
thought I liked TV,
But I just think that a lot of people are burned out on it and they don't
Yeah,
realize
that's
it.
the thing. Just too
especially
much
this
of it.
last year, dude.
I don't think it's the
Yeah.
TV. I think TV's So don't get me wrong. I'm going to sound like a bit of a boomer here, but
Do it, boomer.
I think the new shows aren't as good as the old shows. But
Yeah, I get you. All in the Family. Let's go back to the.
hey, man, I have All in the Family on DVD.
Well, there's
I know.
a lot
I
of
don't doubt
good
you
new
do.
programming if you if you know what genres you're into.
Sure.
Like I like a lot of adult cartoons.
Sure.
Right? Like that weird, shitty, backhanded comedy. I like a lot of bizarre science fiction, expansy type stuff. So for like the amount of TV I do watch now, I never have to watch a show that isn't premium, incredible television for my interests, right?
Yeah, but that being said, if you watch that for years on end,
Yeah, then
eventually
you get
it's
tired
like,
of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where most people are because we just have so much media in our lives all the time.
Exactly.
You can't get away from it. Our phones come with us wherever we go. There's
Ugh.
always a form of media playing in our heads, and it's like, oh, I can't pay attention to this solely, right? Like I can't just focus on watching this thing, not on my own. It has to be something, like you said, with other people.
Yeah, it's got to be experiential.
It's more
or
enjoyable.
special feeling. That's kind of the way it is for me, anyways.
I did want to ask you though, how'd that white on black tattoo?
I haven't seen healed pictures yet.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
she's not like on
Come
Instagram
on,
and stuff.
man.
No, but like
What the
that's
hell?
something that you'd really want to see.
Okay, maybe I'll call her.
Well, I would want to see how that.
I do
healed,
wanna see.
right? Like more than
I think about it every day right now.
More than usual tattoos.
Yeah.
because you know how a black and gray piece is going to heal.
But
Oh,
the
yeah.
only thing is, like, I would just wait till it's a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, really, anything before that is pretty premature at this
That's
point. Any
precisely
really, if we really want to be nerdy about it, it's a year.
well,
We got to wait a year and see what it looks like.
We're gonna
I
do
keep
both.
wondering
know.
how long it does take. Because like I keep watching things and I'm like, are things changing on me? Like,
It takes a year for it to settle entirely.
yeah, I'm just always like,
And then even then, it's going to get beat up over that.
I'm getting so much new stuff done all the time now,
Yeah.
and I'm not looking at it like daily, and I'm like, is it changing?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Someone in your position where you're on that edge of experimental, I'm almost surprised you're not taking update pictures.
Yeah.
You know, once a month, take like, yeah, this is July 2021.
I think I
This is
would be
August
doing that
2021.
if I considered these finished.
Right.
But
Oh, you know what? You will understand ink in skin more when you start lasering it.
yeah, probably.
Yep. That has taught me a shitload about what can happen with ink within skin. Like, it's taught me more than anything else.
Really?
Yep.
Even more than tattooing?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Strange.
No, it's like, so there's a lot of space between those two layers for ink to sit. And then there's a finite point where you get into blowout territory and things like that. But it's amazing what the amount of ink that some people can hold in their skin and what that looks like along the route. So it's like if you start removing laser removing ink in skin that's really thickly pooled, you'll see it over sessions. You'll see it slink down to different levels of other tattoos that you've seen that are healed. So it's just like you can see the amount of ink is getting reduced, and then there's like percentages of it that have the look of other tattoos you may have seen. So it's like you'll see one where it's just like, oh, this wasn't put in very well. There wasn't a lot of ink actually put into the skin, and it looks like this when it's healed. And then you see the oversaturated version of that where it's like, oh my God, there's so much skin in there. There's so much ink in there. If I pushed on this, I could get it to blow out, and it's been healed for 5 years. And then you get the in-between where it's like, oh my God, this is just fully saturated to the right level, and it's settled in a way that still looks clean. And there's everything in between. And you can kind of, a majority of what you're going to laser is badly done tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't be lasering
I've
too
only-
many masterpiece hands
Dude,
like that
I've-
one we did on
Yeah. I've only lasered one good tattoo, and it's one that Rick did on a girl. It's an infinity symbol that he told her not to get. And weirdly enough, now we're
Go
gonna have
Home
to.
Dragon.
Yeah, legit. But like, lasering a well done tattoo was like, wow, this is entirely different.
Yeah.
But like the one that was really oversaturated, after 2 sessions, it was at the level of a well done tattoo. It's weird. It's very strange, but it's taught me a lot.
Well, I'm in the camp of with these new experimental tattoos that we're doing. I'm a non-believer. As crazy as that sounds, I'm a non-believer doing things that I don't necessarily believe in. and forcing myself to believe in.
I believe in them for
Catholicism.
science, but I still think that their longevity
No,
is
I
dramatically
but
at stake.
what I'm getting at is like, I would have told you this was all impossible.
Yeah.
And I still think that, like, core. I feel that. I feel it's all impossible. So I'm looking for things to fall apart. Like I'm looking at one spot on this tentacle over here all the time, and I'm like, is it lighter today than it was yesterday? And I think that every day, and I don't know when that'll stop.
I don't know if it'll ever stop.
Because it's core. Like it's deep down in me. I would have told you all of this is impossible.
Yeah.
And yet I'm the one that's getting these.
Hi, my name is Remy, and I am a paradox. I do not believe in myself.
I don't. It's very strange. Like, I don't believe in any of this. I don't know what any of this is.
I am unable to prove that I exist.
And I'm having
But I'm
people
unable to
ask
disprove
me
at the exact
how
same
these
time.
things work, and I'm like, I don't know. It's black magic.
I like that.
It's insane. How
Well, I
can
mean,
you be getting things you don't believe in?
Yeah, and maybe that's why you elicit such a visceral reaction from these people, because like you're doing something that is kind of counter like people's nature almost.
Yeah, even my own. I'm like, this is not normal.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on here?
What are we doing? But it's cool and I like it.
Yeah.
Remy makes a new plan. New plan. We're lasering the whole bodysuit off. We're good. Wrapping this thing up. Let's
I'm
go.
not doing that.
Back to skin tone.
No
hey?
factory
Skin tone.
reset.
Skin tone and scar.
I don't
That's
think
what
we'll
we
find
get.
skin tone, but here we
No,
are.
bro. Well, that's a deep well.
I always wonder what I would do if, like, one day I woke up and I had no piercings and no tattoos. There was no explanation, and my life was otherwise the same, and nobody seemed to notice. Like, it was almost like I was like,
You had this dream.
what the
You're
hell is
imagining
going
the whole
on?
time.
Like, what is happening here? I've thought about this a lot. Like, if I would do it all over again, if I was to wake up tomorrow with nothing,
The next round of the simulation.
I think I would start again.
I feel like that's obvious at this point.
Yeah, I don't even think I would.
I feel like you already finished once and you still started again.
Yeah, I think I would
And you
just be
finished
like,
the second time and
oh
started
wow,
again.
I've got a lot of work to do. Like, I've got a
Ground zero.
lot of
This
work.
sucks. I've got to do 9 more suits.
Yeah, this is fucking shit. I gotta
Yeah.
get at this.
I thought I just did this.
So I don't know if I would do all the piercings
It's like I just
again,
forgot to take out the trash, but this is different.
because I'm kind of done with getting pierced. Like, I don't really want any more. But tattoos for sure.
Yeah. You can just keep going.
I like the piercings I have, but I wouldn't go through all of that again. Especially not. Some of these are like 15 years. It's like, no thanks. I don't need to be stretching this for my entire life again. That's too much dedication to start
a
over.
lot.
I would look at that and go, no, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I'm not sleeping on this side of my head for 2 months after I stretch it every time.
Ugh, too much pain.
Do you ever pull all your piercings out for a post or anything?
I've taken out my piercings
Because they just sag, right?
with the intention of taking pictures to post on Instagram, and I've never done it because they're hideous.
Oh, cool.
This one in particular looks like a soggy, like, kind of leftover piece of cheese or
You're
something.
making me want to see it more.
I know, right?
And
Yeah.
it's very small. Like, it's like that big.
Aw,
Yeah, it
he
looks.
just gets a little ear.
It looks like a dehydrated balloon or something.
What I would be interested to know would be to do an audiology test between the two,
Oh.
because like your ear taut and then your ear relaxed. I would be interested to see what that feels like.
It doesn't look good. That's all I know. It looks terrible, and people ask to see it all the time, and I'm like, you do not want to see it.
Yeah.
People are like, post a picture on your Instagram of your ear with no jewelry, and I'm like, I don't want to lose 6,000 followers.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
My ear went flat. I
Trust
need
me,
a spare tire.
you don't want to see it as much as you think.
Oh wait, I think they do.
I think I do.